Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we have another example, as though you don't need any more, of sheer incompetent waste. They spent billions building Holyrood, this magnificent, huge hall of the people, where the great and the good, the representatives of the people, can come and talk and wisely decide. They would be open and free, and people could see how everyone was the best at what they do. There would be no idiots in this building. They would all be wise and statesmanlike. And that was at great expense. And so obviously, having built this building, Humza Yousaf comes up with the bright idea of not using it and saying, hey, let's bring democracy all across the country. Let's travel from here to there to there to there. And let's have people's government everywhere across Scotland. And so they decide that they're going to do this. They're going to have cabinet meetings in different places. Now, obviously, you won't be able to see those cabinet meetings. They'll do the photo op, and then the doors get closed. They have their secret little cabally visits and hush little whispery chats, well away from any kind of prying public ear. But they had to do it to look as though they care. And so they've splashed out £30,000 on a grand tour that they have their cabinet meetings everywhere else. They've been to two places, £30,000, achieved nothing, nobody knows what's going on, and meanwhile, that very expensive building in Edinburgh sits empty, but pumping up the heat, having to be maintained and so forth. What a really stupid idea. What a really wasteful idea. What an absolutely stupendously awful idea that achieves nothing. What has it actually achieved? Do the people of Scotland feel that democracy has come to them? I suspect not. But then it was Humza Yousaf. Bound to be rubbish, wasn't it? Let's have a look. So, SNP government splash out £30,000 to send a cabinet travelling across Scotland. But they only visit two places. They're supposed to be off on their little peregrinations as they travel across and show people what democracy looks like, because they don't own televisions apparently. And what do? Look, this is us being the great and the good. We're going to sit in this room. We're going to discuss important matters, matters of deep state, matters that matter, matters that count, matters that are important to you. Now, sod off, shut the door. Who got the sandwiches? Literally nothing. It was a pointless exercise at wanking money away, simply so they could look good. 30,000. You know what? That's a nurse for a year, isn't it? Anyway, Humza Yousaf and his band of SNP ministers travel to Argyll and Bute and East Lothian to hold cabinet meetings outside of Edinburgh. And they charge the taxpayer £30,000 for the privilege. And the taxpayer probably thinks, why? What possible benefit has this brought to anyone? The Scottish Government splashed out £30,000 of public cash to take Humza Yousaf's pointless cabinet travelling around Scotland, although they only managed to make it to two different locations. And questions have been raised if the SNP administration netted value for money through this project. No, they did not. That is clear. In a bid to make Holyrood more inclusive to the rest of Scotland and not too central belt based, are you kidding me? The First Minister and their ministers occasionally head out of Edinburgh and on the road to towns and cities across the country. This is funded by the taxpayer, but was paused for 3 years due to COVID. Continue pausing it. You spent billions on that building. Just live there, will you? Well away from the normal people. But Mr Yousaf brought it back when he took over from Nicola Sturgeon, because he wants to feel important. And he and his cabinet headed to Inverary and Haddington to discuss both local and national issues. In Argyll, the First Minister faced tough questions on short-term lets and the SNP focus on identity politics. And of course he can't be able to answer either of those. One, he doesn't know the answer, and the second, it's ingrained in him because he's been told to by the Greens. A trip to Haddington, East Lothian, a trip to Haddington in East Lothian coincided with the final budget discussions amongst ministers as they struggled to agree on tax and spend plans for the next financial year. And then when they did agree, they presented the worst budget ever. Goes to show what happens when you put chimps in charge of their own tea party. Shona Robertson's eventual effort was widely derided in the business community, the local community, the national press, the international press, everyone, because it's, well, to put no too fine a point in it, shit. Now, the Scottish Government has published the full costs of their 2 junkets, and the bill came to nearly £30,000. More than half of this expense was described as incidentals, van, car hire, and audio-visual, while booking venues and refreshments came to nearly £5,000. Here's the thing, if you'd have stayed in Holyrood, wouldn't have had to spend it, would you? You've already got all those comforts, and we know where all of you are. Now, there's none of this letting them out to roam freely in the countryside. Let's keep them all in one place. When the revolution comes, brothers, we need to know where they are. Travel and accommodation for ministers was the cheapest part of the bill at £1,200, while the same expense for officials hit £8,000. Leave the officials at home. These people that claim they are so good, so clever, so wise, look at us ruling you because we are the best. Do your own damn work. The SNP executive claimed that these travelling cabinets gave local people the opportunity to pose questions to ministers on a wide range of local and national issues that matter most to them and their communities. That's why you have representatives. You go to your representative, he can ask the questions in Parliament. Saves the expense, doesn't it? It added that over 276 people attended the public meetings. Out of them, how many were policy wonks? How many were press? So 276. Let's say 250 once you take the others off, minimum. £30,000 for 250 people. Is that value for money? I seriously doubt it. I mean, that's over £100 per person who attended. You'd have been better off not going and giving each of those people £100. Would have been cheaper. Anyway, the Scottish Tories have called into question the cost of these trips and asked whether Scots demanded less of a focus on Skexit while ministers met them. Scottish Tory Constitutional, External Affairs and Culture spokesperson Megan Gallagher told the Scottish Daily Express, at least by getting to different parts of the country, Humza Yousaf and his colleagues will hopefully have heard how Scots are sick and tired of their independence obsession and want them to focus on the real issues facing them. You know, education, the NHS, transport, community, drug deaths, the cost of living, the cost of food in particular. And why do we keep having horrible little scroats, the likes of Humza Yousaf and Shona Robinson, making decisions which actively harm the people of Scotland? That's what they want to know, and that is a fair question. And I think Megan's got it right. And she's dyed her hair, hasn't she? Or maybe she's gone back. I don't know. Was she dark? She used to be light. I don't know which is natural. Judging by the eyebrows, probably dark. Any old ho, there we go. Collars and cuffs, love. Coming up. I'm pretty sure the ladies who watch this will be going, my God, he noticed the change of colour of her hair. I wish my husband did. I've become attuned to it. My wife changes her hair and things, and I have to notice. We've been together nearly 30 years, you know, and that's because I do notice. Anyway, it is a waste of money. It is an absolute waste of time, and it just goes to show how desperate they are. The one thing about travelling, I suppose, is it gives them a chance to get out there and meet people and make sure that there are even more people who now loathe them. Good job. Thanks very much for watching. We'll stop there. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.